In the blazing sands of Sulawesi, a tiny life begins, not in a nest, not under feathers, but deep beneath the earth. A mother bird arrives. She digs silently into the sun-baked sand, lays her one precious egg, and walks away. She won't return. She won't watch it hatch. She won't even know if it survives. The baby inside? It will grow up having never seen a parent, never heard a mother's call, never felt the safety of family. Can you imagine being born into a world where you're completely alone before you've even taken your first breath? This is the Maleo, a creature that enters life not with love and nurture, but with silence and heat. It is born in isolation, buried, abandoned, and yet it survives. What kind of instinct lets a baby hatch, dig out of the earth and fly without ever being taught? How does life even work when it begins in total solitude? This story will take you deep into a world where nature plays by its own rules, where the beginning of life feels more like the end, until something miraculous happens. But before we uncover the full mystery of the Maleo, hit that like button, share this story with someone curious, and drop us a comment below. What would it feel like to be born without ever knowing who brought you into the world? Welcome to Wild Wing, where the untold stories of nature finally take flight. This may just be the strangest bird you've never seen. You might think you've seen birds, songbirds that hatch in cozy nests, waterfowl that lead their chicks across lakes, even raptors that train their young to hunt. But the Maleo doesn't do any of that. It is, in every sense, a rebel in the bird world. Native to just one island on the planet, Sulawesi, Indonesia, the Maleo exists nowhere else, not in any forest, desert, or mountain range. Only here, only now. And unlike almost every other bird, it refuses to raise its young. No feeding, no guarding, no bonding. Instead, the Maleo relies entirely on heat. Not body heat, but the heat of the earth itself. Why would a bird give up the safety of parenting for something so risky? What secret does this bird know that most others don't? Its egg is unlike any other. Huge, 5 times the size of a chicken egg, packed with enough nutrients not just to nourish, but to empower. Because once laid, there will be no second chances. The chick will have no lessons, no examples to follow, no flock to join. It will either emerge strong or not at all. And yet, somehow, it works. For thousands of years, it has worked. Could this be nature's boldest gamble? Or is it something more refined? Something ancient? The Maleo is not beautiful in a traditional sense, but there is something magnetic about it. Black wings like polished stone, a pale belly, a soft pink chest like the fading light of dusk, and on its head, a dark crest like a warrior's helmet, as if nature itself anointed it protector of some forgotten law. It walks upright, calm yet alert, as though it remembers something we've forgotten. Could this bird be carrying a memory older than we can measure? It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't display with dance or song. It exists with purpose. Quiet, determined, deliberate. In a world obsessed with control, parenting books, and doing everything right, the Maleo reminds us, sometimes nature just needs space, not supervision. In every move, the Maleo seems to whisper, "I was made for something very specific, and so were you." How does this bird find the exact place, out of miles of coastline, to bury its one and only egg? Before life can begin, it must be buried in the perfect place. But how does a bird choose one patch of sand out of miles of coastline? So how does a bird that only lays one egg at a time choose where to bury the only chance it has? It doesn't guess. It doesn't follow instinct blindly. It searches. The Maleo pairs, male and female, spend hours, sometimes days, wandering sun-blasted beaches and geothermal valleys, testing the ground with their feet. They're looking for one thing: heat, but not just any heat, the right kind. The kind that rises gently from below, steady and deep, like a heartbeat under sand. What if the sand's just a few degrees too cool? That egg will never hatch. Too hot? It will cook inside the shell. One wrong decision, and the next generation is lost. They find a spot, a silent patch of earth warmed by the sun and the belly of the earth. Then begins the ritual, the digging, Scratch by scratch, they carve a pit into the ground, sometimes 3 feet deep. Not shallow, not exposed, deep enough to protect, but not so deep that the chick will never escape. How do they know how deep is deep enough? There's no measuring tape, no trial run, just intuition. When the hole is ready, the female lays one massive egg. Fragile, but powerful. Before they leave, the parents line the hole with decaying leaves, roots, broken twigs, organic matter that decomposes slowly, keeping the egg warm even on cold, cloudy days. It's their final gift, their last goodbye. Then, they cover it all up, carefully, firmly, as if hiding treasure. And then, they vanish into the jungle. They'll never return, not even to check. What kind of love is this? A love that protects not by staying, but by trusting. A love that believes in what it built, then walks away forever. But the story doesn't end here, because now, beneath the surface, a baby waits in the dark. And what comes next might be nature's most astonishing solo performance. Above the sand, danger waits. From lizards to poachers, everything wants the egg. And the egg, it has no way to scream. Now, under layers of sand and silence, a single egg lies hidden, unmoving, alone. But peace in the wild never lasts. Above ground, there are eyes watching, noses sniffing, claws ready to strike. Because to a predator, that buried egg isn't a miracle. It's a meal. Monitor lizards patrol the beach like ancient dragons. Snakes slither silently across the sand. Feral dogs, rats, and wild boars dig like madmen when they catch a scent. And worst of all, come the humans. Not for survival, not out of hunger, but for profit. Maleo eggs are massive, rich, fatty, delicious. Sold illegally for high prices. Seen as delicacies, status symbols. In some areas, over 90% of the eggs disappear before they ever hatch. Can you imagine spending hours digging the perfect sanctuary, only to have it stolen before life begins? There are no alarms, no cries for help. The egg can't fight, can't run, can't even tremble. It's a silent target, waiting for either a birth or a burial. And yet, despite all this, some still survive. A few lucky ones by chance or by the perfect hiding spot are left untouched. They stay hidden, still, growing, transforming. But how long can you stay buried before the world above finally finds you? Inside the shell, the embryo develops. Weeks pass, then months. No voices, no movement, only darkness and time. And when the moment comes, when life stirs for the first time, it won't be gentle. It'll be a struggle, a test, a tunnel through earth and fear. How a bird that's never seen the world breaks through the sand and flies into the wild without ever being taught. Buried, alone, untrained, and yet the chick begins to dig. It's never seen light, yet it fights for it. For 60, maybe 85 days, nothing moves. Nothing stirs, just an egg, buried deep, wrapped in heat, silence, and fate. Inside, a transformation unfolds, from cells to wings, from silence to instinct. And then, without warning, without invitation, life awakens. A tiny heartbeat, a twitch of muscle, a will to live. The chick is ready, but no one calls it. No one shows it the way. No mother, no father, no voice, just darkness and gravity above. So, what does it do? It digs. With claws not much bigger than a grain of rice, it begins the impossible. Upward, through packed sand, blind, alone, exhausted. How long would you fight if you didn't even know what waited on the other side? How do you believe in the light if you've never seen it? Hours go by, sometimes a full day. The sand presses back. The heat presses in. Still, the chick claws upward. No one's waiting at the surface. No wings ready to lift it. No encouragement. No reward. Just sky, if it gets there. But then, a shift. A breath of air. The crust breaks. And with one final push, it bursts through, not crawling, not stumbling, but flying, straight into the wild. Its feathers are still damp, its heart racing. But the chick doesn't rest. It runs, it hides, it survives. How does it know what to do? How does a creature born in darkness already understand the rules of the wild? This is not learned. It is encoded. A legacy passed down not through voices, but through blood and bone. This is instinct in its purest form. No parents, no guide, no practice. Just hours after birth, the Maleo chick takes flight into a dangerous world. Imagine this. You've just broken through the ceiling of your world. You've never seen light, never heard a sound, never felt the wind. And yet, you know exactly what to do. The Maleo chick doesn't wait. It doesn't stumble or cry for help. It runs. It flaps damp wings and, shockingly, it flies. Within hours of being born, it can navigate trees, dodge predators, and find food on its own. How many species on Earth are born ready to live without ever needing to be taught? This isn't random luck. This is evolution at its most elegant. A survival blueprint, written over millions of years. Etched into the DNA of every Maleo. No rehearsals, no parents, just precision. The chick explores its new world cautiously. It avoids open areas, stays low in the underbrush, and feeds on soft fruits, insects, and seeds, just like it somehow knows it should. How can something so small act with such confidence in a world so dangerous? It is nature's version of trust, a gamble that's paid off for millennia. But even with this head start, life for the Maleo is not easy. Predators still lurk, storms still rage, and one wrong step could end everything. Still, the chick keeps moving, keeps living, as if it were never abandoned at all. Maybe, in some strange way, it never was. For millions of years it survived everything, except us. Now, this ancient bird is vanishing, and the silence is growing louder. For millions of years, the Maleo has survived. Not by chance, but by brilliance. It trusted heat instead of parents. It encoded instinct instead of teaching. It carved a life from sand and silence. But now, it faces something it was never designed to survive: us. Forests are falling, nesting beaches are vanishing, and with every stolen egg, a future is erased. Development swallows habitat. Illegal collectors raid protected sites. In some regions, entire populations have disappeared. How do you defend a species that doesn't defend itself? Conservationists are trying. Some relocate eggs to protected hatcheries. Others guard nesting grounds day and night. They educate local communities, urge governments for stronger protection. But it's not enough, because the Maleo doesn't adapt to change. It relies on constancy. It needs the same hot sand, the same geothermal slopes, the same ancient rhythm it's always known. What happens when the world moves too fast? For an animal that only survives in stillness. From thousands, they are now counted in hundreds. Every remaining chick that claws its way to daylight is a victory, but also a question mark. How much longer can this last? It never asks for help. It only trusts nature to do what it's always done. But now, maybe, nature needs us too. The Maleo doesn't raise its young. It doesn't watch over its eggs. It doesn't teach its children how to survive. But it trusts in the sand, in the warmth, in the natural rhythms older than memory. It places everything it has into a single, fragile shell and walks away. Not because it doesn't care, but because that's the way it's always been. What kind of world builds life on nothing but trust? And what kind of world destroys it without even noticing? The Maleo is not asking for our help. It doesn't beg. It doesn't plead. It just keeps doing what it's done for millennia and hopes we don't take that away. But maybe it deserves our help anyway. Maybe it's time we listen, not with our ears, but with our actions. Because the next generation of Maleo chicks won't survive without more than instinct. They'll need space. They'll need protection. They'll need us. If nature can trust the Earth to raise its young, maybe the Earth can trust us to protect them. If this story moved you, like it moved us, please like this video, share it, and leave a comment below. Tell us, what would you fight to protect, even if it never knew your name? Subscribe to Wild Wing for more untold stories of nature, where survival isn't always loud, but it's always powerful. Because somewhere right now, in the hot, quiet sand of Sulawesi, another egg is waiting. Another life is digging upward. And that story deserves to be told.